Okay, hey, welcome everybody to Tuesday Tips. This is Carrie Peters. I'm the co-founder of Health Coach Institute, and I'm so excited to be here every Tuesday with you. This is one of my favorite times of the week when we get to just connect, be together, chill, and have fun because, oh my gosh, there's so much that's going on during our days. We all have so much stress. So we get the opportunity to get together on Tuesday at this time every week, same channel, and just have a good time. And remember that you can do it. Everything's okay. And we get to have fun. And given all of that, let's continue. I have a super exciting guest today here. Her name is Kelly Leveque. She is a celebrity nutritionist in Los Angeles. What's up, Kelly?
How's it going? Thanks for having me today.
It is absolutely my pleasure. If you're not familiar with Kelly Leveque, open a tab and Google Body Love and Google Kelly. She's amazing. So she's the best-selling author of Body Love, a book. And the subtitle is Live in Balance, Weigh What You Want, and Free Yourself from Food Drama Forever. Yes, please. I will do that. And she's working on her second book, Body Love Every Day. And she's also working on making a human. So just a few things that you're about to birth.
Yeah, it's a big year.
It's a banner year, Kelly. I would say that's an accurate assessment. And Kelly has a ton of celebrity clients like Chelsea Handler and Jessica Alba and Jennifer Garner and Emmy Rossum and more. So Kelly's here to kind of really give us the scoop on not only like the business side of how did you start your business? How did you choose to do that? How did you transition from corporate to doing what you do? And sort of helping coaches tips for like, how do you build a career doing this work? But Kelly also has so much to offer in the world of nutrition. She received her bachelor's degree from the University of Southern California. She completed her postgraduate clinical nutrition education through UCLA and UC Berkeley. If you Google Kelly, a whole bunch of health and wellness and lifestyle articles and publications are going to pop up on Google. So I'm excited. I wish we had a couple hours to talk.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is like too short, not enough.
Yeah.
Well, I met Kelly for the first time on the set of a show called Reluctantly Healthy. My health coaching client, Judy Greer, who's an actress, who you may not know her name, but you have seen her everywhere. She's played the best friend in every romantic comedy ever. As a matter of fact, Judy wrote a book, and the title of it is, I Don't Know Where You Know Me From. Because people go up to her and go, I don't know where I know you from. And she's like, and meanwhile, her like list, her resume on IMDb is like scroll. I mean, she's been in, I don't know how many things. In any case, she, through our work together, kind of really got into health and wellness, although she kind of did it reluctantly because she's really doesn't want to be that healthy, but she sort of has to be for work. And so she called it Reluctantly Healthy, which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, it was a web series on Yahoo. And one day I was shooting and Kelly was there. I think you were doing a segment on dry brushing.
Yeah, I did a segment on food allergies and a segment on dry brushing. So it was super fun.
So that was back in 2014. It was a pleasure to meet you, a pleasure to get to talk with you now. So much has happened during that time. But let's kind of begin at the beginning, which what was it that sparked your interest in becoming a nutritionist? Because you were full on in the corporate field, like working for Fortune 500 companies. You had that whole thing going. So was this like a surprise or something that you always wanted?
Well, it's interesting. If I'm honest with myself and I look back on even my high school health class, that was my favorite class in high school, was health. And books I read in high school and the magazines that I subscribed to were Shape, Women's Health. And the books that I read were Atkins and South Beach when I was 17 and 18 years old. Sort of funny that my parents let me do that. But I'm definitely a math and science brain person. So spelling, grammar, literature, history, that was all, those classes were actually a lot harder for me. I went to USC for undergrad. My dad went to USC for undergrad. I had 27 relatives that went there. I was sort of brainwashed to go be a Trojan here in Los Angeles. And so I just was following in my dad's footsteps in business finance. And my junior year called him bawling in tears. I should have been pre-med. I should have been kinesiology. I should have been a registered dietitian. I'm taking Nature of Human Health and Disease. I'm taking biology. It sticks with me. It wasn't something that I had to try really hard. And, I was always the girl with flashcards, but those classes really stuck for me. And my dad was like, well, that's fine. If you want to change your major, you can pay for the extended years that's going to take you to graduate. But, I'm helping you for the 4. So you either graduate now on time in like a year and a half, or, kind of make up your mind. And at the time, going to school to be a registered dietitian, it seemed like the options were you worked at a hospital or a dialysis center.
Right.
And it was really for, keeping weight on someone during like end of life diseases like cancer, or working through issues with diabetics and that sort of situation. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. And this, nutrition wasn't as big of a pulsing career path then, because I'm 35 now. So a while ago, graduated college in 2005. So what I ended up doing was adding a concentration in Nature of Human Health and Disease. And I spent 8 years working in the corporate world for cancer companies. So I worked for Johnson & Johnson, I worked for Stryker, I worked for Hologic, and ended my career the last, couple of years in genetics specifically. And so that career actually had me reading PubMed research articles every single day, honing my skills and understanding, like, is this study causation, does it have a significant p-value? Is it telling us anything, or is it correlated, like a correlation study, or is it a community study? What's the study design and how many people are involved? And so that really helped me inform my career today, because now when you see articles come up, or you see someone coconut oil is being poisoned, and then there's no study reference that they're linking it to, and then the study they reference in a secondary interview is completely biased, community-based, and really they aren't studying coconut oil at all. They're looking at saturated fat in industrially raised animals. So, it allows for me to.
But don't buy coconut oil. Buy canola oil instead.
Yeah, it allows
manufacturers, right?
Right, exactly.
Coconut oil. Let's see if we can discredit that.
Yeah, and so that the science part was like really amazing. It really helped me, stand out in my career, and my ability to read those studies and kind of take the drama away from it, because everything is fear mongering and everything is titles of this is going to kill you, bacon is going to kill you. Like pick a food group. Someone's going to tell you it's really horrible for you. And I think really starting to get into the research helps me to help my clients kind of let that stuff go. So I had my full corporate career. I had 8 West Coast states at the end. So I was flying 4 days a week to the biggest cancer centers on the West Coast. And when I was here in LA, and on weekends and lunch breaks, I was meeting with clients at Coffee Beans and changing out of scrubs into like a cute blazer with my jeans, which was really fun and crazy. But it was a side hustle actually when I met you on set. So I didn't take my business full time until September of 2015.
I didn't realize that. That's so funny. Wow. So
yeah.
So you started working with clients when?
I started working with clients in September of 2012. And then between September of 2012 and September of 2015, I went back to UCLA and UC Berkeley and was taking like a class at a time to really work on like postgraduate nutrition so I could do clinical nutrition. But really like working a lot of weekends, working a lot of nights, Friday afternoons. But I found it to be really helpful in my career. So some people love to just get rid of their first career and move directly into health coaching, but that feels like pressure to me. Like I loved that my corporate career could help me pay for the hosting of my website, could help me pay to have, a freelance photographer come to my house and shoot 12 recipes, so that I could, use my free time at night to cold email all of the blogs that I wanted to write for and say, hey, I'm a health coach in LA. And like, I wrote a ketogenic article for Birdie in 2014 or 13. And like, I'm way ahead of the time in regards to that trend. And all I got were a lot of, RNs being like, ketosis is the worst thing that anyone could ever go into. I'm like, we need to know the difference between ketoacidosis, which is with diabetics when they have high blood sugar and high ketone levels, versus low glucose and high ketones, which is nutritional ketosis, two totally different biological states. So it was just, I could come with these really fun, interesting article ideas, which is what I did to kind of build press for my website. It's like, I'd write an article for a blog for free, just to like get the press piece, hyperlink my Instagram and my website to it, bring them back to my site. My job and career at the time could pay for those images. Then all of a sudden people went to my website and went or went to my Instagram, and the imagery was bright and cohesive. And, I thought like I was giving good information so people would stay. And then it was just kind of took on some momentum. And I probably could have left my job a year prior or a year and a half prior, but it was scary. I wanted to jump off a curb instead of a cliff.
So basically what I'm hearing you say is that you were slow, methodical, deliberate, step by step, and that suited you way better than just like, I'm quitting everything. And
yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a personal side there as well. As my husband was a corporate attorney for 7 years, and 6 months after we got married, he told me he didn't want to be an attorney and he wanted to write screenplays. And so I was like, okay, so I'll pay for everything for the first year. And then if you need to get malpractice and start doing like small client-based law stuff here at home, based on if it works out or not, we'll figure that out, cross that bridge when we get there. And it ended up being something that slowed the progression of me leaving my corporate job. But in any case, I still would have kept my corporate job and worked on building my brand the right way.
Totally. Like you found what works for you. And I'm guessing that you found that with trial and error, right?
Absolutely. Like there were certain things that I have learned along the way working with clients. So, now over 2018, over 6 years. Absolutely. Because I sit down and I look at that and I'm like, okay, well, what have I learned along the way? Well, the Fab4 smoothie, which is like my kitschy recipe formula for creating a meal replacement smoothie, was something I created out of need because I was working with a Wilhelmina model who was under eating and we weren't hitting body composition goals, which was, hey, you sort of need these inputs if you're working out with a trainer to get the goals that you need. We need a certain level of certain macronutrients to see any sort of change here.
Right.
And not fueling your body is backfiring into binging at night or going to the clubs here. Young girls going to clubs in LA.
Yeah, right.
Bottle service is not food. So it was something where I was looking for a way to turn off her hunger hormones that she didn't think about food all day long, and it ended up being a tool that's really successful for clients. So it's a smoothie formula that includes protein, fat, fiber, and greens, which is greens meaning like leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula, whatever. That's the basis of my light structure program. Is someone could be vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, and I'm like, what does your body need though? It needs essential amino acids, essential fatty acids. We need some fiber and we need some leafy greens because we need those veggies to feed that gut microbiome and keep you healthy. So and by the way, those 4 things turn off and regulate over 8 hunger hormones in your body. So if I can get you out of your own way and give you this little tool of like, hey, use this formula to make any flavor smoothie you want. You want your smoothie to be chocolate almond butter, sneak a spinach in it? Great. You want to be the lemon avocado, super green smoothie girl, fine. On a macronutrient level, we're basically getting the same things. You're feeling calm and full, and we can start there. And so that became something that became a tool for me,
Yeah.
And I look at everything like a tool. I have clients who come to me and they're like, bulletproof coffee, I'm super into that. Intermittent fasting, I'm super into that. Keto, I'm super into that. And I always give them the pros and the cons. We talk about their personality, and if it actually jives together, because you have a client who wants to do keto, it takes 4 days to get into ketosis. And then Thursday they want to drink their wine. I'm like, why would you waste trying all week to get into a biological state and then 5 minutes later blowing yourself out of it with a cocktail or wine?
Right. Right.
So it has to work. So everything is a tool, but all of these things I've grown up with my own practice. It's like, wait, okay, maybe we don't change everyone's whole day all at once, but how can we just do one habit at a time and build on those habits? Because that's what creates the lifestyle versus what is a diet? A diet is an eat and do not eat list and PDF plan that you have to like meal prep your way through your whole life and doesn't allow for having fun or being creative or spontaneity to go out on date night with your husband or whatever it is. So
right.
I really like my clients to have the flexibility, and what I try to just be as a consultant. Like I look at their day and I make sure on a biological level, they're not drilling themselves. And then I look at the things that they really like to eat, not like, well, someone said lemon water is great in the morning, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm like, it's great, but I don't like lemons. I'm like, why are we doing this? Like they're okay. At a certain point, you're forcing healthy things down, but it's finding those habits and finding the things that work for my clients. And that might be one or two tools. Maybe it's the smoothie. Maybe they backfire every day they get home and they eat their whole cabinet and pantry because dinner isn't ready and they didn't prep. Then they become a person where I'm like, I do want you to have an afternoon snack, because if you walk in that house and you're starving and it's crazy and kids are screaming, you are going to eat whatever is easiest and most available.
Yeah. Well, when kids are screaming, you pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah. Birth ball. I'm a birth ball. It's fine.
That's right. She's on the birth ball. It's all going to be good. No, your kid will not scream.
I hope not. But my husband was apparently like the fussiest baby. So
it'll be fine. It'll be all good.
Yeah.
So you learned what you like through trial and error. You learned sort of how you wanted to structure how you worked with clients. You learned all the different tools that were working for you. How did you end up landing your first celebrity client?
Such a good client. Such a good story. Well, so first, a friend of mine Mike Alexander and I have been friends for over 10 years. He trained Jessica Simpson for Daisy Dukes. We met because at the time, Nick Lachey was obsessed with USC football, and Matt Leinart, our quarterback, was a friend of mine in my same year. And so I had met Mike, but we were just, I guess, casual acquaintance type friends. And then we became good friends, and I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I'm starting this business. Like, how do you work with the people you've worked with? Well, he was in church group with Jessica growing up in Texas and came with her from Texas to California to train her for that movie. So he had sort of allowed me to do consultations with a couple of his clients, like Evan Peters and Eve Hewson, which, are actors and actresses on television today, but they weren't my biggest celebrity client. The first time that I got in contact with Jessica Alba, I worked a blogger party for free. So someone was like, hey, we have this blogger party. It's the launch of Honest products at Target. And it's going to be this whole thing with an installation where they can take, they can try the products and they get a free lunch, and there's all these places for them to take pictures, and there's going to be little Zeal massage people and we really want to like offer them a nutrition consultation. I'm like, great, I'll do that. And they're like, we don't have budget for you, but we'll get you a little furniture vignette and you can get to meet these bloggers. And it's just like good exposure. Okay, I'll do it. So I went and I sat there and I sat in that furniture vignette, and not a single blogger came over and sat down with me, because it was not really, it wasn't labeled correctly. They weren't really sure what I was doing. So then the head of the event came over and she's like, why don't you go stand by the buffet and tell people what the nutrition is, what the nutrition is in the food. I'm like, okay. So I walked over. I'm like, well, there's vitamin K in these leafy greens. And they're like, are you with the caterer? Do you have a card? This food is really good. I'm like, not with the caterer.
Oh my God.
I'm a health coach and nutritionist here, just trying to give you guys some information about how to live healthy, because Honest is all about a healthy living. And the whole time Jessica's been doing these interviews in a back room. She's not out in the party at all. It's just, she comes out later, but the party's ending, and I'm like, this was so pointless and what a waste of time. And these people just think I'm like with the caterer a blogger sitting by myself.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it gets worse. So, so then this cute redhead comes out and she fills herself a plate. She's like, do you mind if I sit here? I'm like, no, please. You're the first person to sit here all day. Have a seat. She's like, what are you doing here? Explain that I'm here for 20-minute consultation, health coaching consultations for any blogger who wants to sit down. And she's like, oh, I'm dealing with inflammation in my hands. I'm a makeup artist. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And she ticks off all the things she's cut out. And I'm like, it could be nightshades, but like, why don't I, come over and sit down with you at your house and we can kind of go through it. And I'm happy to help if here's my card. It wasn't like, I'll do it for free. It was like, if you want to work with me, here's my information. Mm-hmm. She emailed me and I went to her house like a week later. We ended up pulling nightshades. The inflammation in her joints and her fingers went away. Turns out she grew up with Jessica Alba as one of her best friends from junior high and her makeup artist all throughout her career. So within like a couple weeks, it was an interview to Jess that was like, Kelly, you meet my soul sister, Jess. She wants to sit down with you and like talk about her diet. And so I always tell people, be a yes person, like say yes to things, like don't be better than things. Things are, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be embarrassing. You never know what's going to come out of like saying yes to social engagements. And, there are so many events for brands and things here in LA that, you go to and there are 10 people, or it's, maybe a bust. And then the other half of the time I sit down and I meet really awesome, other health coaches or nutritionists here in LA, bloggers, business owners, people that work at Facebook or Instagram. And it's that kind of thing, like just getting into your community and not being above anything was sort of, I think, really why my career took off. Is I hustled hard and I said yes to a lot.
Well, did you, when they said, oh, hey, meet my friend, Jessica Alba, were you scared? I mean, were you nervous? Were you like, I don't know if I can, what if what I tell her doesn't work?
Yeah, I feel that way about so many clients I sit down with. Like here's the thing is it's like, I can tell anyone anything, but then they can go like to Javier's and eat a whole bag of whole basket of fried chips and have 3 margaritas and be like, it's not working, Kelly. And I'm like, oh, well, there's only so much that we can control. We just always try our best. And what I always go to my clients, like I said, more of as a consultant to say, hey, this is the benefits of this scientific approach. Here are maybe the drawbacks for people personally based on lifestyle, like the keto thing, mm-hmm. or intermittent fasting. Like so many come to me. So now I should be waiting to eat between 2 and 6. And I'm like, for me personally, if I wait till 2:00 in the afternoon, I am going to eat from 2 to 6 because my body is really hungry and I overcompensate for that. Just, it puts me in a bad headspace. So we got to get to know you. And I don't know, I'm like really transparent with my clients, and Jessica ended up being like so sweet. Like I went to her house, we stood in her kitchen, sat on her bar stools, talked all about her diet. Like she's really sweet and easy to get along with. I mean, knock on wood, I've had like the nicest, loveliest, phenomenal girl boss clients ever. But I've definitely had my fair share of hard clients where it hasn't worked out. I've had clients who maybe didn't implement anything and then it's sort of my fault. Mm-hmm. And I've had to fire people and be like, look, it's just not working. And that was something that when I first sat down with Jess, back in 2014, or any of these other clients where you would always just keep trying and think like, it's my fault. Like we got to find something that works. But at the end of the day, it's a team sport. Like you come together and you work on it as a team and you support each other, and the communication needs to happen for habits to change. But yeah, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's petrifying. Like I remember parking at her house that day. It's a very, very vivid memory for me. And since then, like she's so lovely, and she's just like a regular gal. So, yeah.
It's good to know. I mean, I think one of the issues that health coaches have is worrying, like, will I really be able to affect change? Am I really going to be able to help someone? And to hear you with your level of accomplishment saying, yeah, I've had those fears too. And you don't know when you sit down with someone, are they going to follow through? Is it going to happen? Like, am I going to be able to find the thing that's happening with them or not? Or there's a, how do you, what is it that you believe in order to get past the fear of that uncertainty?
Yeah. Well, I've mentioned that I feel like I'm a consultant all the time. I think what I've seen other health coaches do is they're afraid to collaborate. They're afraid to have other people that they refer out to because they feel like they're going to refer out and lose that client. But for me, I'm a little bit of the opposite. So I have functional MDs that I refer out to. If someone has a weight loss goal or body composition goal, and I don't see changes in the first 12 to 14 days, that's when I say, hey, look, like we might need a better blood test. We might need to look deeper into some hormones. We might need to see your cortisol level. I might want to see if you have a vitamin D deficiency or if there are B vitamin deficiency here, because I know that there are specific markers that are going to keep people from those goals. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not afraid to refer out to a functional MD. And I've developed these really awesome relationships with guys here on a couple of docs here on the West Coast and a couple on the East Coast in New York and Philly. And that's really helpful for me. Second would be, if someone is in pain and they have body issues that are keeping them from working out and keeping them from getting active, I have acupuncturists, I have like fascia release specialists, I have chiropractors. I feel like they're coming to you going, I need your help and I need to figure out what's wrong. And the best thing that you can do is say, if you were my best friend, or if this was me, how would I help you get there? And this is what I would do. And then I always preface that too with, don't worry, this is not the only way to go. And I think that's another thing you have to do is you have to have your stages of where you would go next, and a good thing. Yeah. And a good thing to do, because people get in a mindset or they stick with a specific lifestyle and they're like, I'm a vegan coach, or I'm a keto coach, or I'm a paleo coach. Yeah. And that doesn't always work for everybody. And you really want to educate yourself in the scope of it so that you can help people. And you, in the same way that we think of every single thing as a tool, we don't want to send them a huge email that's like, use all of these things and change everything in your life right now. Yeah. We go for what we think based on them, their personality, their lifestyle, how they eat right now. What 1 or 2 changes can I make to see them heading towards their goal in the next 2 weeks? And then you check in and go, have you felt better? Tell me about what's happening. Are you really committing? Is it really working? Okay, great. If it's not, let's take it a step further. And then they're like, well, what happens if this doesn't work? Like I have a client right now with rosacea. And so we did an elimination diet and that didn't work. We're like, okay, well, you've been on certain types of, prescription drugs. So let's do a little bit of a liver cleanse and let's make sure that we're on a good probiotic and we have a good liver cleanse and we're calming that inflammation. And then if that's not working, then the next step is like, okay, well, I might send you to a doctor here in Santa Monica and we might do a stool analysis. We might do a hormone panel and we might do a food allergy test. Right. Because something is happening and she's, going to a dermatologist and having them tell her, sorry, you have rosacea. It's just a thing. It's inflammation. It comes up whenever people are stressed out and it's like, that might be the case. But if she has elevated cortisol, like, does she have systemic inflammation because of a food allergy? Right. You can't just say that you're going to have rosacea for the rest of your life if you grew up until 27 and didn't have it.
Right. That's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. So my whole thing is always like, okay, well, we have a next step and it's weighing for them, like financially, can they afford it right now? Is this something that they want to do? And I'm always, if I hit a brick wall of like, I don't know what else to do next, I'll spend a little bit of time in the research and trying to figure out if I can make a better recommendation for them. And I'm not afraid to say like, this is above my pay grade. Like I've had clients with emotional traumas and things that I know are causing them to loop with food and use food as a crutch and feed themselves to fill an empty void or hole. And I'll work through like confidence building tactics and habit building tactics. And if it's just something that they need to go talk to someone about, I'll tell them, because ultimately, if they get help because I push them in a direction that they're like, no one in my family sees a therapist or a counselor, or, it's like, that's fine. And you have these theories about what that means if you were to see that type of a person. But I'm telling you as a coach, as a specialist or an expert, that I've been before. I think this would benefit you. Just think, like, what if you spent 6 weeks or 6 months with this person, and all these issues been dealing with for 8 to 10 years based on emotional eating could be dealt
away. Right.
Like, why wouldn't you do that? You do that in every other part of your life. Why wouldn't you do it here? So I think don't be afraid to use other people and use resources, because this is how you get people excited about building a healthy lifestyle. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I agree. I've always thought of myself as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Really. And that my job on the team is not just habit change, but belief and identity transformation. Like there's going to be all kinds of rewiring in thought patterns, because then the behavior change is actually quite easy.
Yeah.
But that's my role. And then they're going to need all kinds of other things, which I'm thrilled. Like, go here, go there. I feel that way in business too. I don't need to do everything in my business. I don't need to be everything to everybody. I do the thing that's in my lane, and then everybody else can fill in. I know we're at time here, but I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you. This is awesome. And I do feel that I could continue chatting about all kinds of things for a very long time. But for people who want to learn more about you, where can they go?
So my handles everywhere are at Be Well by Kelly. So Be Well by Kelly. My website is bewellbykelly.com. I'm the host of a functional nutrition training program on Mind Body Green that is hyperlinked on my website. I wrote 2 books called Body Love, and then the second one, Body Love Every Day, comes out in January. So I would start with the first book, and then in January, if you liked it.
And then pre-order for January.
Yeah, it's actually up. I just got my covers sent to me, like the comp covers. It's crazy. 7 months pregnant, hiding behind a marble, like hiding behind a marble island. So
that's hilarious.
Just do it,
I remember at 7 months pregnant talking to my business partner, Stacy, and she has an 8-year-old, or at the time her daughter was 7. And I remember at 7 months, I was like, I can't possibly get any bigger, can I?
Oh my
and
God.
She just looked at me and she went, oh, no, you're going to get a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even understand. Like, I don't get it. How can I possibly be doing that?
It's crazy, because there's a point where, the belly button's gone at this point. I have no belly button, which gives me the heebie-jeebies. Right. I'm like, it's going to pop open. I don't know.
I know. It's really and truly amazing. Like, truly amazing. For all the horrors. I remember telling a girlfriend, I'm like, this is a horror show. But if I step back, you go like, wow, this is incredible.
We're so lucky.
Creating a person. And anyway, it's awesome. And congratulations to you. I so admire everything that you've done to build an amazing brand and business, and to bring some really incredible work out into the world, and all the people that you've helped. It must feel really good inside for you.
Yeah. I live for the transformations. I live for the habit changes. I live for those success stories. So I'm only as good as my clients can be. So it's pretty cool.
Thank you so much, Kelly. It was really a pleasure to talk with you.
You too.
Hope you get to come back again sometime. We can chat more.
I would love that. Keep me posted. I'll be around.